Alright, so first things first, we're going to start off weighing the 1 pound bag to see what it comes out to be. Go ahead and start up the scale here. Alright. So it's exactly 1 pound and 1 gram with the packaging. So remember that. That's with the packaging, all the stickers and labels. So your contents inside is obviously going to be less than 1 pound. Now we're going to do the 3 pound bag. 3 pounds and 3 grams. So again, same thing, probably less than 3 pounds of actual dirt on the inside of the bag. And these are foil bags, so they do have some weight to them. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the 1 pound bag and we're going to see what kind of material it is. And I will classify that down accordingly, just to give you a better perspective. So I'll be right back. Let me open up this bag. Alright, so I went ahead and cut off the top of the bag here. And it looks like there's a bunch of heavy rocks, so I'm not expecting too much to come out of this, as you can see right there in the bag. Now I went ahead and weighed this already with the bag, so we're going to go ahead and pour it out and see what the new weight is. And as expected, it's 15.9 ounces, so just short of 1 pound. Still, one of the things you got to remember about these bags is that there are some pretty good sized crevices in here. And gold is heavier, so it will even in dry atmospheres, environments, try and work its way into the crevices. So make sure you always check your bags or cut off both ends and dump it in. Now, looking at this material here, the dirt itself just kind of, and that's a little interesting. That actually might be silver or platinum. So I'm going to go ahead and put that aside because I'm not sure what that is, but it's definitely a silver color if you look at it next to my ring. So I'm going to pull that aside and inspect that a little bit later on. But definitely something to look out for. Alright, so upon inspection with just some tweezers, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and this definitely looks like it's been planted there, but do you see that? Right there? It's a little picker. And go ahead and pick that out. I don't know if you can see that, if it'll focus. Focus. It's trying to. Go ahead and pull out. Little piece of gold. So far so good. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside and kind of just poking through here to see if there's any more obvious pieces. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, there's another piece of that silver stuff I was going to pull out. Quite a bit of the silver stuff in here, so I'm not sure that it's anything worth anything, but alright, so the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reduce this down to 1/4 inch. And I'm going to dry classify this material. Not that I'm expecting any nuggets, but gives me an idea of what to look for based on the larger rocks. So I like to keep the quartz on, pull those out, and I'll set those aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and classify this down again to 1/8 inch and see where we're at. And my goal is probably going to be to run this material through the sluice, recirculating sluice, and see how well it's doing. Of course, I'm going to capture all the tailings and pan those separately after that's all done, but I'm kind of wanting to use the sluice in the blue bowl, so I'm going to go ahead and do this step by step. If I have to do it multiple times, then I'll do it multiple times, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one bag and I'll get back to you. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and weigh this again. This is actual panable material. These are all the larger rocks, the non-gold items. I say that, but I'm actually going to take a rock crusher to these you know, whenever in the future, not today, but in the future, and see if anything comes out of that. But chances are not very much, if anything. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh this. The pan weighs 4.1 ounces. So the total here is 11.7, which takes us down to, you know, I would say probably a good 7 ounces of painting material. So from 1 pound down to 7, that's less than half. Now this Paydirt was 30 Canadian dollars, which equals to, I think, what, 27, 28 American dollars USD. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into my cup, and I'm going to sluice this, but I'm going to sluice this in combination with the 3-pound bag that I'm going to go ahead and sort out right now. So 1 minute and I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got the 3-pound bag here. This is the Cottonwood Claim Dirt by Hogg. I went ahead and opened it up. You're looking at it for the first time with me here. And it's the same consistency as the previous bag, so chances are that it's probably just the same material. They're from the same location. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my scale here. Pull this out. And right off the bat, that looks really interesting. Not quite sure. That could very well be gold in that. I don't know. Definitely gonna have to pull that aside. It could be pyrite. But chances are there's gold in there. That's pretty cool. Pull that aside. Keep on pouring here. Now, as I'm pouring this, I am seeing some larger flakes fall out. Not seeing any big nuggets. But again, if these are concentrates, don't expect to find big nuggets by accident. So with this one, looks like the total content with the rock is about 2 pounds, 15.8 ounces. So again, just shy of 3 pounds. Again, make sure you get all the cracks nice and clean. I hear stuff in there. I hear a lot of stuff in there. It's coming out. since that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the back here. Yep. Now it's cleaned. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. If I find anything interesting, I will get back to you. Okay, so I went ahead and put this into the screen. This is the first rock. I know you can't see that. It looks like pyrite. There's a lot of iron on there, but there are some spots that definitely look more like gold than they do pyrite, because they're a lot more yellow. Now, in addition to this, which, by the way, this by itself weighs quite a bit. Let me see if I can pick it up on the scale here, just out of curiosity. Weighs 5 grams. Now this is the other thing I found, which looks like a larger piece of what I thought was silver or platinum. So I don't know if that's clear enough for you to see. I'll try and get a better photo of it later. And this is also quite heavy, but not nearly as heavy as it's 4 grams or 0.4 ounces. I mean, so gram wise, it's 13 grams, and that iron piece I showed you a second ago is 15 grams. So I'm going to definitely set those aside and do a little bit more research on those. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and screen this down. This is 1/4 inch. Doing a dry classification here. And I don't know if you can see that. I'll go ahead and zoom in as best as possible here. There's a piece of gold right there. Let me zoom back out so you can see it a little clearer. So right here, there's a decent sized picker, which isn't bad. I don't know if that's a gram or not. Let's see if it even comes up on my gram scale. It's 1 gram. So go ahead and add that to the collection here. And we'll finish classifying this down. That's why it's important to know what you're classifying, because that helps you understand the geology of where this material is coming from. So again, I pick out all the quartz, the blue quartz, the green quartz, or at least what I think is quartz. Sometimes you get lucky and find good sized garnets, and people collect garnets since they are considered a semi-precious gemstone. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, look at that. So here's some quartz with some of that silver stuff in it. And again, this piece weighs quite a bit too. I'm not familiar with platinum and silver in ore form, but definitely pretty cool. I'll have to contact the guy and see if he can give me more information on it. But something to be on the lookout for, because a lot of people get this stuff and look for gold, and there's other items in here that could be worth some money. But I'll get back to you. I'm going to go ahead and finish classifying this down. Okay, so for a lot of people, they think, I got some paydirt and I'm going to find gold, and they're going to go ahead and pan all this and everything else. I'm going to show you something that's going to make that a little bit more difficult when you get a hard paydirt. By that I mean something that's hard to pan, classified as hard material. So let me see if I can make sure I get this on camera. Alright, so right here, during my classification, you have to have eyes for this. You need to be able to scan all this material and find gold. And I don't mean gold by itself. I'm talking about gold in rock or quartz. Right in here, This piece right here, this white piece. That's in focus. Has gold on it. Now this gold otherwise would not have been found while panning, because this quartz makes the gold lighter and it would have fluffed right off of the material. So this is definitely a piece, and it's actually flaking off in my hand, the gold pieces. So definitely something to be on the lookout for. But that piece that flaked off, it's a perfect example of what happens in nature. Gold, which is formed in quartz with the right mineral combinations, over time water rushes by and it knocks that gold out, and it does exactly what happens here. This is where flour gold comes from. So all your placer gold comes from lode gold, which is what this piece originally was at one time. So just something to remember, when you classify your material like this dry in your garage, you need to go through almost piece by piece. And a lot of people don't do this, but you need to collect your quartz for that very reason. And I just happened to see that gold and notice it was attached to the quartz. I'll get back to you. Alright, so I'm going to pan down the material that was too heavy for the 1/8 inch screen and the 1/4 inch screen. So I'm going to go ahead and join these together and I'm going to pan it. And then the material that I'm going to run through the sluice, just to test the sluice, is this. But of course I'm going to catch the tailings and repan those later. And then with the cleanup of the sluice, this is probably only a couple of pounds here worth of material, if that, probably 1.5 pounds actually. So with the material that's cleaned up from the sluice, all the heavies, I'm going to try and set up the blue bowl, get that leveled and done, but that probably won't be until tomorrow, which is Christmas Day, or maybe even later this weekend. But I'll do the blue bowl as a demonstration because I'd like to try and get that figured out and mastered. So I'm going to go ahead and pan this. I'm not going to pan it on camera, and I'll show you, if anything, what comes from that, and then I will show you the sluicing process. Alright, I'll be back.